Welcome back to T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass. Today's episode is probably the most anticipated episode I've ever had. We're going to have Cory Walker, currently with East Nash Grass, on board today. Probably took me a year to get this one lined up. We had talked about it, but getting both of our schedules to line up, it's been proven very, very difficult, but we finally did. And then for some unexplained reason, I sat on this. I had to get it edited. I had other things going on, other episodes that may have been time sensitive come in. Lots taking place. We recorded this end of February or very beginning of March. I think it was the end of February. And I'm just now getting it released, but it's been worth the wait. Now we're going to jump into my conversation with Cory Walker of East Nash Grass. Cory, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I'm stoked to have you here. I know we've been talking about it for quite some time, and it's finally here. Most people know Cory Walker from East Nash Grass. You play banjo with East Nash Grass, and I think it's safe to say that's your full-time gig. And we're going to get into that in a little bit, but let me ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
You come from a musical family. Pretty much everybody in your family plays music. Would you consider yourself a competitive person?
In music, I think that it's to be competitive with yourself as far as getting better. Um, but yeah, I like to win if I'm playing, you know, football in the backyard. I enjoy winning, but as far as music, it's not really helpful to be competitive against others besides comparing it to how good you want to get. So it's really a competition with yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, so one of my biggest curiosities, because your entire family is a musician of some sort,
Mhm.
how does Thanksgiving go down? Is there any smack talk going down when it comes to Thanksgiving? You actually sit down and eat a dinner before the instruments come out? What's kind of the insight on that?
Well, I always say before we pray for Thanksgiving dinner, for example, I always say, attention, everyone. Thanks for being here. I just want to say that I'm a much better musician than my brother Jared and better than Tyler. And I appreciate you guys understand that and still being cool to have us all at the table together, to have a meal together, because it's not about all that stuff. But yeah, that's generally how it starts. We kind of started off like that, and I say thank you so much for being here, and then I like maybe I'll like nod. I'll look over at Jared and like nod, you know, and acknowledge that he still came to the dinner, even though I'm a much better musician. So,
And they're both your little brothers, correct?
hmm hmm that's right.
So for a while at least, you were bigger, I imagine.
I was bigger, but then Jared was like around, I would say, I don't know, when I was 14 or 15 and he was 13, he was basically as big as me. And then he got bigger.
Well,
And then I kind of caught up a little bit.
and the banjo being your primary instrument's heavier than a mandolin.
It is. It is. And
So
that's one
potentially
thing
a
that
more
he doesn't think
effective.
of. It's like I'm working on like different muscle groups every single night, you know. So so he needs to think about that. At least uh, before this next Thanksgiving.
That's good to know. We got a little bit of time between now and then. So I'm pretty sure your family is originally from Florida. You grew up in Florida,
Mhm.
and you all started playing at a very young age of some type or another. But during that time, when did it kind of occur to you that, hey, maybe I can make a go of this more than just playing for fun, but maybe even attempt to pay the bills by being a musician?
Um, I think I was in like sixth grade. Maybe it was around the time that I was 13. 14, because at that time I had met some other kids that play, and I at this point was good friends with other kids that played. Um, from going to like IBMA and the Smithville Jamboree, um, stuff like that. My parents and or my grandparents would drive us around and stuff. They were great. But anyway, I just kind of realized, oh
Supportive
wow,
of the lifestyle.
yeah, exactly. But I started realizing that my world was kind of shifting, and so many of my friends now were musicians. And I remember realizing, like maybe I could just do this. It was kind of a weird shift, but also it was pretty seamless. It just kind of made sense. I remember talking to my dad about it, and they've always been like super supportive. Because my dad's a banjo player. I grew up hearing like all the classic newgrass stuff. The band Newgrass Revival, of course, a ton of that stuff. But then like Mule Skinner and Dog and in general and Peter Rowan and John Hartford and Norman Blake and gosh, Dan Crary and a ton of Tony Rice and but he also listened to a ton of like Fighting Scruggs and Bill Monroe and stuff. But I remember before I could talk, like I remember hearing some of these records that are still just golden records,
Yeah,
even hearing
legendary
them for
stuff.
like, yeah, like even hearing it, these records for probably the 900th time, it still is amazing. But anyway, I can get long-winded and I digress. But anyway.
Well, it's about you today, so there's
Oh
no
yeah.
concerns about that at all.
Oh, that's
Um,
sweet. Yeah.
yeah, you're the man of the hour, literally.
Yeah. I love
So
it.
so in Florida, you were playing all through school, all growing up. I
Mhm.
assume you had a band in high school, maybe before college. Because did you try? Well, I don't, did you have a band in high school? Let's go there.
Okay, so I played in this band called the Bluegrass Parlor Band, uh, which was based in Tampa, Florida. The Bluegrass Parlor was this bluegrass music store, like in the middle of Temple Terrace, Tampa, Florida. Um, and a guy by the name of Tom Henderson ran the store, and I took lessons there for like 2 years, starting when I was 7. Jared took lessons for 2 years when he was 7. Tyler took some lessons there and then took lessons later with a guy named Michael Godwin, who I also took some guitar lessons with. Um, he showed me like music theory a little bit, like kind of basic stuff that got me thinking more, uh, I don't know, analytically about how music is made up, like how it works if you open it up and look inside, just like the basics of that stuff. But yeah, the Bluegrass Parlor Band was a band that consisted of me on banjo, a guy named Jeff Jones who took over Tom Henderson's Bluegrass Parlor after Tom retired from the band and the business, and then Jeff Jones's brother Jason Jones on bass. So we have the brothers there, and then Jared played mandolin, and then Tyler played guitar. He was brought on as Jeff left. It's a long story, and then Heather Franks on fiddle. So yeah, like I was in the Bluegrass Parlor Band since I was 11. That's when Tom brought me on as the banjo player. So um, yeah, so like in high school, you know, we were always playing we were always playing shows. And then also when I was in high school, I also played with Sierra Hall. Um so
And
I'd
you
be
met her at IBMA, the
I
IBMA
actually the
you
first time, sorry to interrupt, the first time
yeah,
I
no.
met her at um at Smithville Jamboree and I was like 11. Um
Okay.
And I remember when I saw her, she was back behind the stage getting ready to go on, and she was playing. I remember she was like chopping, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like I've never heard anybody that young sound that great. And of course, I'm only like a year older, but like, I mean, you think of these
It's
things
10% of
even
your
when you're
life
a
at that
kid.
age.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But but I remember she played El Cumanchero that year, and just smoked everyone. And that's also what made Jared get really serious, because he was like, you know, man, she's so great, and you know, I want to be great too. And then right after that, that's when he really realized, I don't know what it was, but it really motivated him and made him really start to love it even more. And it goes back to like, you know, the kids, your friends, you have to have a community.
Sure.
And so it's really hard to just be isolated in like Florida or Wyoming or wherever and not leave. Like if you don't leave, then you're not going to see that it's like this bigger organism, that you can be a
Fortunately,
part of.
Florida is not on the way to anywhere but Florida.
Yeah, it's true. Florida really has quite a thriving bluegrass scene. It's even when we were growing up, like there's a real scene. Not as much in South Florida, like, Everglades, all that stuff, although there is some, but we grew up in like Central Florida, kind of rural, inland Florida, and there was a lot of it, especially in Lakeland. I mean, Lakeland, Auburndale, Lake City, and then all the way up to Georgia. I mean, it's the deep South, and while we don't have mountains besides the Swanee Mountains, There's a lot of southern culture there. In fact, two people in my high school played bluegrass, which I thought was amazing. And like we hung out all the time. And I remember my freshman year, uh, they they like convinced me. They didn't try to convince me, but they convinced me um, that you could just leave school whenever you want and come back. And I thought that it really, what, because like in years prior,
They must know what they're talking
you were
about.
allowed to do you were allowed to do it just a few years before. For example, to go to lunch, if you could just go pick up a sandwich and come back. And so after I realized that that's not um that's not allowed anymore, I still
Oops.
I still did it almost every single day. But I only skipped school for during lunch, and then I would come back for all my classes. Now, I'm being serious. I didn't skip class. I skipped lunch, and I would go to a place called Rick's Custom Meats and get a huge sweet tea and a
Okay.
Cuban. They call it a country boy Cuban. And yeah, man, I miss Cuban sandwiches. That's for sure. So,
Well,
does that answer the question?
yeah, it does, and I'm sure you're beyond the statute of limitations at this point. You will not get reprimanded by your high
Yeah.
school
You
principal
know,
or counselor
yeah, I
or
was thinking
anybody
about
else.
that. I was thinking about that. Oh, should I be saying this? But at this point,
Well,
you know, whatever.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So when you graduated high school, assuming you graduated, it's irrelevant if you didn't. But that's is that when you joined up with Sierra Hull, kind of as the first professional opportunity, or
Yeah, I started playing with her when I was 15. So, she would basically just fly me on the weekends. And it's not like we were burning up the road, but we were playing some cool stuff here and there. But yeah, I started playing with her when I was 15, and we do stuff. I guess when I moved out and I went to school at MTSU in Murfreesboro, went to school, got a business degree, and then moved to Nashville. And while I was in college, I played with Sierra Hall for several years, and then I also would play with whoever. I remember I played a good deal with this band called Nashville Brigade, which is Jim Van Cleve and Randy Barnes, and it was a revolving cast of players, Ashby Frank. Anyway, like I would play the station in some with them, and then also played some Mountain Heart dates. Um, and I my roommate uh,
That's
and
Josh Schilling, Seth
yeah,
Taylor. Who else with Mountain Heart? Because they've got a semi-revolving cast as well.
yeah, Josh Schilling, Seth Taylor, but at this time, it was Jake Stargell that was in the band, who was also my roommate.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and Jason Moore, Jeff Parton played in the band at one point. Aaron Ramsey, Molly Cherry Holmes played in it at one point. But yeah, one of the shows Tony Rice was on. It was like a Mountain Heart featuring Tony Rice, and that was one of the coolest things ever. I had recorded with him on Sierra Hall's project on that record Secrets, but I hadn't been able to like stand on stage with him or just kick in a circle with him, and it's
I
just
was gonna
like,
say, did you
man,
perform with Tony Rice, or was he just there when you were performing?
no, performed like it was like a songs of Tony Rice type of deal, and yeah,
Wow,
it was amazing.
that doesn't suck at all.
No, it was one of the coolest things ever. And people always talk about, his rhythm and everything. Uh and it is my favorite like bluegrass rhythm. Well, just rhythm in general. There's something he does that like makes the music dance on its own. It like breathes life into everything. But man, when you hear it and you're playing with it and he can hear what you're doing and adjust and stuff, it's one of the craziest feelings ever is playing with him.
That had to be outstanding. And since we are bouncing around, now that we've mentioned Tony Rice, we've also mentioned several people that you've played with.
Hmm.
You've covered a really large spectrum of some of the bluegrass greats. You could even many might consider you one of the bluegrass greats right now. But what was is there a story that could beat the Tony Rice story of somebody you've played with,
Oh
a
gosh.
legend or a hero that you looked up to?
Oh gosh.
Because that's
Well,
that's a high up there.
um, Jared and I, along with Sarah Jarose and Maggie Beth Estes, who am I forgetting? Who all was in that? Uh,
Uh,
Okay, I
I,
got it. I got it
of
now. All right, I
okay,
got it.
all right,
So it's hard to beat the Tony Rice story, but not if you have this one as well. Um, so
okay,
so my brother and I, along with Christian Ward, who's of course a Swanee Mountain boy, and his brother Austin Ward and Sarah DeRose were asked to be on this ABC special where kids get together and they're playing and then they find out that they're going to be playing on stage like the Titan Stadium, right? And that's the story of it, and like
okay.
and Kix Brooks while we're practicing and Ricky Skaggs and Earl Scruggs walk in. So, it, some of it was kind of like staged, like it's like who's there in the corner. We knew something was gonna happen, but anyway, yeah. So the coolest thing I would say is being able to play on stage with Earl and Ricky and Kicks at the Titan Stadium,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's national television and everything, which was cool. But like the coolest part about it was backstage, like Earl and I just played just like the two of us for like an hour, and
Oh, that's
And
outstanding.
I mean, yeah, I was like 14 and he was so cool. He was so like very giving with his time. He was such a nice guy, and his ideas were so musical and fresh sounding, And he was, I don't know, late
He
70s,
outstanding. Yeah,
Yeah.
without Earl, we would probably not have bluegrass as we know it today.
No. I mean,
He's an
he's
equal
looking
founding
over his
father to
shoulder.
Bill Monroe.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, Earl, I mean, I think Colonel Bruce Hampton calls him the greatest string player to have ever lived, which, you know,
That's
hard to argue
it's
that
hard
one.
to argue with.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry, I got to interrupt. There's never a good time to interrupt, but I've got to run my jingle. It's time to talk bluegrass mortgages. Because I'm T. Shaw. Here we go, and then we'll be right back. We'll jump right back in. I promise. Won't be long.
1, 2. It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Hello, I'm Trevor Shaw. I'm not just a bluegrass aficionado. I'm a bluegrass aficionado that's a mortgage loan officer at Chat Mortgage in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'd be honored for the opportunity to help you get your residential mortgage loan or refinance anywhere in Tennessee and Georgia. From veterans using their hard-earned benefits to first-time home buyers needing down payment assistance to retirees finally getting the home they've always dreamed of. Call or text me today at 864-50-T-SHAW. That's 864-50-T-SHAW.
It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Chat Mortgage is powered by Almeida Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 271603. Chat Mortgage is located at 6205 Lee Highway, Suite 301, Chattanooga, Tennessee 37421. Phone number 423-591-9801. Trevor Shaw, NMLS number 929381. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I don't know if you can see over my shoulder. I've got a autographed Earl Scruggs poster my dad got me. Actually, he
That's
got it for
awesome.
himself, but it ended up mine.
Yeah,
So,
that's
he's the
awesome.
man.
Hmm.
I got to give kudos to that. Wow, man. So you're doing life-changing experiences and opportunities, and maybe, and I might not be wording this quite right, it kind of seems like you were jumping along with so many well-known people that East Nash Grass, I would associate immediately with your identity. Cory Walker is the East Nash Grass banjo player. But do you feel like East Nash is the first career-wise where you've got ownership with it?
Oh yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt about that. As much as I've loved playing with people, so many different people as a side man, there's something to like having veto power, everybody having veto power, right? So if one person doesn't like a song, and really doesn't like it, then we probably shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Everybody has to have their heart in whatever song, whatever. That's one of the big things is playing songs that you like or bringing your own songs to the band. And, when you're playing for someone else, they pretty much call all the shots, which is kind of nice in a way. There's way less pressure on you. You're able to just focus on playing the banjo and making the best music you can. Uh,
Show up when they tell you to show up and do your job.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot less pressure in that way than like owning something. But there's a greater reward to building something yourself, you know. I mean, I named the band. It wasn't even East Nash Grass as people think of it now when I named it. Like I started playing some gigs in town just because, I enjoy having running water, and I was like, what do I do? And so
Yeah.
anyway, I started like
Electricity's
playing.
kind of nice too.
It is. And so anyway, I just had to come up with a name for the band, and it was a revolving cast. It was whoever could play on this date, this date. And so I was like, well, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's East Nashville bluegrass. Like that's what it is. And so East Nash Grass became the name for my band, kind of just working at this place. Actually, funny enough, Kix Brooks's winery, Arrington Vineyards, and so anyway, then Harry and I kind of like got it started at D's, and then it became, you know, slowly what it is today.
And it was a long time coming. I'm under the impression some form or another, you've got almost 10 years history.
Yeah, yeah, something like that, almost. I would say as far as when we first started playing at D's, I don't know, maybe not quite, but probably 8 years, close to eight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I thought of that is one of the accomplishments for East Nash Grass, you were in 2024 nominated for IBMA's New Artist of the Year. And
Yeah.
I wonder what the criteria is to be considered a new artist, because I thought at that point you were pretty well established.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess it's just kind of like when the international community all sees you and likes you. Um, I think that's what it is. But yeah, yeah, new artist. We won. Yeah, we were up for it one year and lost, and then the next year we
Okay,
won it.
you won in 2024, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yep. All right.
I think.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. And then 2025, you were nominated Entertainer of the Year and Instrumental Group of the Year.
Hmm. Yeah, that was
Okay.
uh that
And
was very cool. It's wild to be
and
nominated.
Band of the Year in 2022.
Oh yeah, that was that a momentum? Well, band of the year, I don't know what that is
Or maybe
actually.
nominated Band of the Year in
Yeah,
2022.
yeah,
But
sounds right.
either way, yeah, bounced around a little bit there.
Hmm.
So I'm under the impression East Nash Grass was initially whoever was available Monday night, get together and play. And then after several months, weeks, years, whatever the case may be, it started to not only become a regular thing, but create an identity. And at what point, and you were probably doing other gigs besides just D's on Monday, but at what point did it become, or maybe at what point did you start doing gigs outside of D's on Monday where it became an actual, this is a band, this is a product, let's make a run of it with East Nash Grass?
I remember in 2020 when we recorded our first record. I remember thinking and expressing to everyone that, hey, like we could do this. Like we could have our own thing. I remember that well. We were at Jake Stargell's home studio, and I remember being really excited about it. It's like, hey, we can like just do this, instead of everybody play with different people, and then it's really hard to schedule anything. But yeah, I would say like 2020, while we were recording our first record.
And that was the self-titled East Nash Grass that came out in 2021. So it was,
Mhm.
did you decide and then go to the studio, or you were in the studio and then decided? Or do you not remember?
Well, we had decided that we should record some stuff, and James booked some studio time, and I hadn't really thought about it. I was super busy playing with other people. But after we recorded some tracks, and like by day 3 or so, I was like, man, like I remember, like we could do this. Like we could just do this. And So yeah, it was kind of like after we had recorded some stuff.
That's awesome.
It's cool.
That's cool. That's a cool story. I mean, every band's got a slightly different story, and that's definitely unique, having it come together like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very it's very us. No plan.
Well, your second album after that was released in 2023, Last Chance to Win.
Yep.
And before I forget, I have always wondered, one of my favorite songs on that album, the whole album's amazing, but
Thanks.
Starlit Iris, the song Starlit Iris, your banjo breaks, really the banjo for the whole song, has always struck me as sounding different than what I typically know banjo for. It's got a little more of a grungier tone to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, is that just me hearing things differently, or do you have it tuned differently, or do you have a special banjo for that song, or strings, or is it just me that it sounds a little grungier than typical banjo?
No, it's like a low tune banjo. So like well, actually not all of them are wound, but they're like heavier strings. It's tuned lower. Um, and yeah, it's like lower in pitch, and then more of the strings are wound, so you hear more pick noise. Like,
Okay.
a typical banjo, only the fourth string is wound and everything else is just steel. Um,
I didn't know that. I'm pretty ignorant to banjos, unfortunately.
yeah, well, that's part of the grunge, I guess. And on that track, I'm actually playing a banjo that is not mine. Mark Howard owns it. We recorded that record at the Tractor Shed, which is literally a studio that was built by Mark Howard in Grandpa Jones's tractor shed, in Goodlettsville. And I played a banjo of John Hartford's on that Mark
Really?
owns. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
It was just like in the closet. I was like, man, I wish I had a low tune banjo. And Sean Sullivan said, "Oh, I think there's one back here." And there was
And
two
one
of
of
them.
John's old,
Yeah.
one of
Mhm.
Hartford's old axes,
Yeah.
just laying around.
In Grandpa Jones's
Man, that's
tractor shed.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm super excited I asked about that, because I really enjoy the sound. I mean, it was unique.
Yeah. I
So
love
everybody's going to go
playing those.
download that.
Oh yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. I love playing
Oh,
low tune banjos. It
okay.
colors the songs in a special way. Also you're not used to playing like hitting this string and this string and it sounding way lower in pitch. So it changes what comes out of you.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Uh, from there, last year you released All God's Children. It's gotten some IBMA recognition as well, and the lineup has changed slightly for that album. You're moving forward without Dobro. Of the three, do you feel like you're progressing and it's getting better and better at this point? And how does that coincide with the next step? Where are we at
I
record
think,
wise?
each record sounds very different, and it's kind of it's hard to decide how you look at progression. This record, to me, I'm a big fan of the songs on this record. Uh, the last record too, but this record feels more representative of what we are, I guess, than the last one. Mostly because it's the most recent. It's just kind of like one of these things where you
Sure.
just try to be real in the music. And if you do that, then it'll sound like you.
I enjoy all three of them, and I really can't wait to hear the next one. I'm sure it would be impossible to be disappointed. I'm loving the direction East Nash is growing. There's a slight side note. One of the things that I've always really appreciated about East Nash Grass, and maybe you should take credit for this. I'm sure this goes back to your business degree, which probably isn't all that common in professional musicians. But you guys have the best quality merch. And I don't understand why all bands don't have the best quality merch, because if you have cheap merch, I'm sure people think, oh, we'll make a better return on investment. But they'll buy it at the show, they'll wash it one time, it shrinks 2 sizes, they'll never wear it again.
Yeah.
When you have
right.
quality merch, when I go to other shows, I can tell you've got the best merch because East Nash Grass is the most represented merchandise I see at other shows. Almost every show I go to, there's the East Nash. Now, I call it a sheep, and you're going to tell me it's a lamb.
It's a lamb.
But it's everywhere. It is one of the best logos in bluegrass, and we see it all over the place. But, all right, you might disagree with me, and that's okay. A lamb is only a year old or less.
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
then it becomes a sheep.
That's
so
right.
How come your lamb hasn't grown in its age?
Because, because we're timeless, we're young. We don't age, we're
Lambs
helpless.
for life?
Yeah. Lamb life. We're helpless and we need nurturing and like we would die without, all of y'all's help.
Don't age. Older than a year.
Nope.
So,
Nope,
but yeah, no, you
that's
guys
correct.
have the best merch, and I love it, and keep it up. Even
Thanks,
if the return
Trevor.
on investment's slightly less, I'm certain the marketing and advertising more than pays for the investment. So,
Yeah, probably.
Speaking of
probably does.
merch,
Mhm.
is that an Uncle John you're wearing?
No, it's not. I don't know what this is. This is a Aunt Amy. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. But it looks like this.
Okay.
I do love the Uncle Johns though. He hooked me up with a
I
couple, and they are the best. Speaking of tie dye, I don't want to.
I
I
kind
mean, they're
of
one of the best
think.
for sure.
Well, I mean, it's like music. It's art. It's
Yeah.
it's impossible to say which one's better or best. It can be one of your favorites, and Uncle
Right.
John definitely makes a quality product. In fact, I think the first time we met, I might have asked you, "Is that an Uncle John?" It was at the Station Inn, and I think it was for John Stickley Trio, but I can't remember for sure. And I'm like, "Is that an Uncle John?" And you're like, "Yeah." Are you T. Shaw?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's been a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, that was pre-COVID. Probably would have been 2018 would be my guess.
Yeah.
I could go back and
Yeah.
find out. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
it
that's
just
right.
reminded me of that. That's wild. Small
Yeah.
world.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm assuming, going back to the merch, that was your idea. You're the ones. No. Nothing but quality. None of this cheap crap.
Oh, no, not really. Not really. It was, I mean, everybody in the band has really good sensibilities for, I guess, yeah, business. It's more like, man, like flip it around on you. Like, do you want to go and buy something that is cheap or doesn't look cool? Do you want to wear something that doesn't look good? No, you know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of common sense. So much in business is common sense. As far as like the just kind of the broad understanding of the simple fact that people are people, and you can give people the opportunity to feel good about something they did. That's just like when you're negotiating or in friendships. I mean, you give and they give. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but actually, the lamb logo was kind of mine, but not really, because I used to have like a bunch of lambs, and yeah, and it's a long story, and I won't talk about it anymore.
Yeah. You had briefly mentioned too, and we are certainly bouncing around. One of the probably the most exciting side projects you've got going on right now, Swanee Mountain Boys, with your brothers, and you had mentioned a few of the other musicians as well. You did a 4-show tour this January, I believe, And were they all sold out or close to it if they weren't? You guys had a really exciting, very short mini run.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we played the Basement East, and we played Intuition Aleworks in Jacksonville, and then we played Page Brewing in St. Pete. And then I think that was it. It was a
Okay, a
three
3 night
show.
run.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
it
was
got a
great.
lot of traction. Are you going to be doing that again in the future? It seems like that's a real hot ticket to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. We plan on doing uh maybe even doing some stuff this year. Um so be be looking.
Be on the lookout. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I got a handful of more things, but your stage banter, especially with Harry, is that for real?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, are you guys always like that?
I mean, we're different like every day, like everybody's different. Harry's a good friend, and we just try to like have a good show. And
Well, you frequently wear a hat that says Harry, and I'm wondering if you're frequently mistaken where people assume your name is Harry because that's what's on your hat.
sometimes, yeah, like some people, like in a coffee shop or whatever, you're like, Harry, or is that your name? Is your name Harry? No, it's not. It's my friend.
Well, but I'll drink his coffee.
Yeah, it's for real. It's for real. We are real people, and we're real friends. And so we get on stage, and then it's okay. You can talk in the mic to your friend on stage, you know. Doesn't matter if you want to still be friends with that person when you're on stage. So just
Yeah.
keeping it
Question from left
natural.
field.
Yeah.
Well, I know this last summer you did your East Nice Grass, your first headline show at the Ryman, and you had a special treat where you got to play Earl Scruggs' guitar on stage.
Hmm.
Did when that was there? We were talking about Earl earlier and how much he's done for bluegrass and especially banjo and his style, but even his guitar. Was there a little bit? I mean, you were playing John Hartford's banjo in one of your recordings, and now you're playing Earl Scruggs' guitar on the stage at the Ryman. Does it feel different? I mean, is there a buzz or a magic associated with it? An
Um,
electricity or
you know, a little bit once James started talking about the guitar and how it hasn't seen the Ryman stage, since Earl played it, that type of stuff. Then I started to kind of get nervous, and
okay.
you try to keep all that stuff kind of out of the way and not think about the weight of things or whatever, because if you do, then you're just going to be in the way, and music won't flow right. Um, you can't have your cake and eat it too is actually very appropriate. And in
Okay.
this circumstance, like, you can't be playing and be like, "Oh man, this is so great! Like, I'm playing so great. The band sounds awesome." Like, you can't do any of that if you want it to sound great. Um, you have to kind of like, as best as you can, dissolve into it to where you almost to where you can't remember what happened after you get done with the song. That's that's when it's really, really good. And that's a hard that's a really hard place to find yourself as far as your headspace, because you won't find yourself there. You will just be gone, and then you'll come back, and then you'll realize that you were gone. And it's a real thing, it's a real thing. And you can get there through music, and that's when it sounds the best, um, in my
That's awesome.
experience. Yeah, like when you hear it back, like recorded, like to verify that Yes, indeed, it was. It
That's really,
was
really
better.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't really believe that that could actually happen where you actually kind of, it's almost like dreaming, you know, sometimes you actually just kind of leave and all this is just happening and like you're feeling it all. And I used to not believe that was really a thing. Well, I don't know what I believed um, growing up. Maybe I did. I don't know, but it's easy to
An
write
out
that
of
type of
mind
stuff off.
experience.
Yeah, it's easy to write that stuff off for a lot of people, I think, because a lot of people don't want to like believe in anything. They put everything in this box that says magic on it or whatever. Like, oh yeah, yeah, right. You know, I don't know. People are people are afraid to like really believe in magic, I feel like today.
Well, magic is real. You got to believe. So, is there anything else coming up in 2025 that my listeners should know about? What do we need to know? What do you got? What do you got down the pike?
Um, so you're talking 26, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
26 now.
Yeah. I keep saying 25 too. Um,
It's actually
man,
been 26 for a little while now.
it
Yeah.
has been, yeah. Well, for one, East Nash Grass is playing a bunch of cool festivals. We're playing Telluride. We're playing the Earl Scruggs Festival. We're playing, although this might already be out, we're playing the Basement East March 14th, which is always really fun. Uh, gosh, a bunch of stuff. My one of the bands that I'm in uh, on the side, Section House, will be releasing its full record, the new record, and it in its entirety. Looking forward to that. There's
Awesome.
also we have 3 singles out now, and then everything's going to be released. Also, Harry Clark and I and Christian Ward have recorded a songwriters project, and we aim to have that come out this year. Trying to
It's a power
think.
trio.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a blast. Like we're generally on the same page with stuff, but where we're not, we we only gain from that. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm
Like
excited for that.
we'll
That's
be
great.
uh we'll be hitting the road a lot with East Nash, and then Swanee Mountain Boys might happen this year.
Okay. Okay. We'll keep an eye out there. All right, two more quick things. One, I know you just got a new touring van. Congratulations.
Thank you
That's
very
awesome.
much. Thank you.
Is a band van kind of like a locker room? Does everybody have like their space or their cubby or their drawer or is it just whoever gets to whatever seat first?
Well, everybody likes different things. So like, I like sitting in the back, like the very back, but so does Harry. And if somebody's tired, that like in the back, it's a lot easier to sleep back there. So
Yeah.
yeah, you basically everybody likes what they like, but everybody, has to give, and
Feudal property.
yeah, right. For the whole, everybody's got to, you know,
You don't
be
tape down the
lenient.
bench seat and be like, if you cross over this line, you're going to be in
No,
trouble. This is my
no,
turf.
we haven't done that. We haven't
No.
done that. Yeah, it changes, but you'll see patterns emerge.
Okay. Okay.
hmm It is kind of like every man
Well,
for himself in a way.
okay. Or women, depending on
Yeah,
who's
right.
who.
hmm
Yeah. Yep. All right. Last thing. You have had some of the most entertaining social media You're constantly researching certain subjects, whether it's for a school project or serious.
Hmm.
You come up with some of the most off-the-wall scenarios. And people come out of the woodwork to comment and participate in that. But you just recently had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you had a contest associated with the birthday. And is that contest still continuing, or has a winner emerged?
It was not quite clear. Oh, no, it is clear. I can't believe I did not announce it. David Beaumont is the winner. He wins. He won the Venmo birthday celebration contest.
Congratulations, David. That's wonderful.
He deserves.
He gets recognition on T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass.
Yeah. He's gonna love that. He's gonna love it.
That's awesome. Cory, I really appreciate you making the time today. I can't wait to see you on the road. I'm going to actually try and make it up to the March 14th show. Don't know if it's going to happen quite yet because it is in the middle of the week and arrangements have to be made, but I'm certainly going to try, and if not, we'll catch you on the road sooner than later. Thanks again for the time. I appreciate it so much.
Well, thanks a lot, Trevor. It's always good talking to you, and hope to see you at that show. But I'm glad that I got to see you here, and thanks for having me on.
You bet. Thank you. All right. How about that? I have no idea why it took me so long to get this episode out. So much has happened since I've recorded this episode. At the time, James Key was still in East Nash Grass. It was before Frank joined. It wasn't even announced that he was departing. So, well, a lot's happened. Since then, we've been to Telluride, and I've got some good videos coming today. I've got some videos from the March performance in Nashville that we talked about earlier in this episode. I've got a video from Telluride Bluegrass Festival from First Grass, which will include Frank, the newest addition to East Nash Grass. Also looked up Rick's Custom Meats in Lithia, Florida. It's still there. They still have a tremendous selection of Cuban sandwiches, although not the country boy Cuban that he mentioned, but perhaps you have to be a local and you just have to know how to order it. I bet they would still make it for you. I would get a huge thrill if any of you stopped by Rick's Custom Meats and said, you're here because T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass sent you. That would be really, really cool. I would love to try one of their sandwiches next time I'm in Central Florida. I'm certainly going to seek them out. But really appreciate everybody joining us today. It's been a heck of a lot of fun. We've got one more episode remaining in Season 4 coming up next week. Make sure to come back for more. Subscribe. Get caught up on all the back episodes. I've got them all available wherever you listen to your podcasts. And as you can see, I've started to embrace video, or potentially, if you're watching this, I've started to embrace video and taking it to the next level. So, bunch coming up next week. We're going to do a great recap. Really would love you to come back. And as a reminder, hopefully you all know this by now, how I pay the bills is providing mortgage loans. I am a loan officer in Tennessee, Georgia, and Colorado. I am looking to expand. If I can help you in any of those 3 states, or if I know advance notice, I'll pursue getting a license in the state that you need me to serve you. Be honored to help you buy your first home, last home, retirement home, veterans, first-time home buyers, whatever the case may be. I've got a product for everybody. NMLS number 929381. And I want to encourage you to stick around for just a minute longer for a brief message from our sponsor, me, and come back next week. Thanks again for joining us. T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass.
1, 2. It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Hello, I'm Trevor Shaw. I'm not just a bluegrass aficionado. I'm a bluegrass aficionado that's a mortgage loan officer at Chat Mortgage in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'd be honored for the opportunity to help you get your residential mortgage loan or refinance anywhere in Tennessee and Georgia. From veterans using their hard-earned benefits to first-time home buyers needing down payment assistance to retirees finally getting the home they've always dreamed of. Call or text me today at 864-50-T-SHAW. That's 864-50-T-SHAW.
It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Chat Mortgage is powered by Almeida Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 271603. Chat Mortgage is located at 6205 Lee Highway, Suite 301, Chattanooga, Tennessee 37421. Phone number 423-591-9801. Trevor Shaw, NMLS number 929381.